Now, we've all heard of freedom writers. Right here in Ilford, in London, in a suburb in London, we have women South Asian women who got together and started a group, a creative writing group. From that one creative writing group came a lot of books, books that spoke about and spoke to a lot of women within the Asian community about the issues that really mattered to them. Lots of women, wrote stories about their own domestic situation, about their own friends. And Smita, you have written this book called The Pariah Goddess by Smita. And Smita, tell me, this all began with basically a kind of trying to find a creative writing workshop in your local area. So you all thought that there's no Asian group of women writing together. Yeah. Let's start a group of Asian women writing together.
That's true. I mean, I'm glad you're saying that, but thank you for that. But I think it was more out of the need because writing is a lonely job.
Yeah.
We feel, you're always spending time on your computer, on your laptop, sitting there writing.
And women of all don't like to be alone. Huh? They like to be in a group, talking to each other.
That's the best thing when you meet people, And writing, you write about what you see.
Yeah.
If you don't meet people, what are you going to write about?
That as a woman and as an Asian woman writing in English in England, it's not an easy task being a published writer, right?
No, I think it's very difficult, and there is a prejudice attached to, when I first came here, I was a lecturer in India, and I wanted similar kind of job here. And the answer that I used to get was, oh, you're going to teach English to English. And that is the kind of prejudice that I find even in the publishing industry as well. It's
all okay if you write in Hindi or some other language, but when you start writing in English,
it becomes, how can you write about English or in English when there are people who are English obviously here.
Tell me, in terms of about being Asian and writing in English in England. Is that an easy task, and as a woman?
Not for me, because it was very, very difficult to put your thoughts into another language that, especially when I first came to this country, I couldn't speak a word of English. Wow. But then...
Really?
Yeah.
So you've learned English as a second language and written in English, written a book in English?
Actually, I learned it by reading books. I love books. So by reading, I just learned the language, and I wrote my first book in English, because the reason was this also based on a true story.
Okay.
And
one second, if a publisher is watching this, this is an example for you. Somebody who could not speak the language, and you've written a book in English. Tell me, as a young person, I know you write as well, but as a hobby and this thing. When you hear of all of these stories, of Asian women writing about issues that really matter to them and issues that are close to their heart, what goes through your mind? You're somebody who's born in this country. Tell me, I mean, this sort of writing, do you think it has a market? Who will pick up a book like this one, for example?
I think it's really inspiring because it's sort of talking about issues that aren't really talked about very much, but it's still really accessible. I mean, I have friends that have read Hima's books, and they've read my mum's books, and they all just understand it no matter what ethnicity they are. And I think it's really good, and it sort of widens your horizons a bit and gives you a bit more knowledge into the world outside of England.
Yeah, this is a very interesting point, that it makes it accessible. It makes issues like the ones that women, especially immigrant Asian women, face, much more accessible, much more out in the open. Tell me, what is that one issue that your book tries to address?
It is about immigration and how people from India or Pakistan or any other Asian countries, they kind of come here. For women, it's either two ways. Either they come here for work, or join their husbands. They get married here, and that is, I think, quite a big number of women who come here after getting married to someone who belongs to this country, whether they're Asian or English. And the problem they face is that sometimes they discover quite a different side of, they have these big dreams that they're going to this world of dreams. It's a country of where it fulfills all your dreams. But when they come here, they discover a very different kind of.
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
Why is that? Because their husbands are already married.
Yes, probably that, or the household is really abusive. They suffer from domestic violence, which they are not allowed to talk in Asian.
So one of your characters in your books is a woman who thinks of her, her in-laws' place as a military camp. Is that correct?
Yes. She imagines that she's been recruited in a military camp where she's got the lowest of the.
She's got the lowest rank. Which is that true for a lot of Asian women here who get? Is
so.
that
because my first book is based on that. Actually, I met this girl, very young, newly married, and married a British Asian, and came to this country. And she was telling me her story, and she was treated as a servant in the house by in-laws and rejected by her husband. So that is actually, moved me so much. Her story.
Do you think there isn't an outlet to talk about these stories? I mean, that there is, when these are kind of issues that are, those immigrant issues that, nobody wants to talk about. Is that true? I mean, and partly what all of you are doing is kind of getting these stories out there in the open?
Yeah, this is kind of awareness, they now know there is somewhere they can go and talk about, because sometimes, women always kept themselves. They don't want to say it in public. So the writing is the way where they can just write, whatever they want. It's their thing, what they thought. And that's what I feel. And after joining the Diwali, that's like me, who never thought of writing anything. I don't have any domestic issue and all, but still, when I go there, when I meet different people, I see the different views. The same thing, one topic you pick, but 10 different views, and you can't imagine at the same time the 10 different people thinking different.
Okay, so that's very interesting that you almost kind of become a writer when you go to a group like this, huh?
Yes.
Tell me a bit about that. I mean, then you started out as this group of two women who wanted to form a group. Then all of you came together, and you all have actually published an anthology after
Yes,
that, right?
we have published 2 now. The first one is Same Difference, where Asian women from all over the world have contributed. And we have the second one that's based on Olympics, the game in 2012. It's called 9.69 seconds. And basically it's the last record before the 2012, because this time they made a different record. Again, this one is people from Asian women and other women as well who have been writing and who haven't been discovered. If you read it, you'll see that it's discovering talent. We are not limited to just
And tell me, in terms of we often talk about women and women's issues and Asian women especially. Do you think they are where they should be? I mean, do all of you agree that they're are you all happy with the kind of treatment often meted out to them at home, or we hear of these horrendous stories from India about these rapes and things like that? Tell me, reflect a bit about Indian women and Asian women and the kind of circumstances they're going through. Obviously, if they can't be treated as a big monolithic entity, Indian women. There are lots of different kinds of Indian women in different parts of the world. But reflect for me a bit about this.
Yeah, on one side, Indian women are progressing so much that even recently our Indian president was a woman. But on the other hand, you will hear so many stories of these, abuses towards women, rape, and all these things happening so much. So actually, our aim, Smita's and mine, and all other Vani writers' aim is to bring the issues that are in the dark corners and bring them out into open. And in that way, writing is the only our tool to bring that into open, so that people will be aware of this, and then maybe perhaps that may help, because our books are. Even though we write about abuses and all that in our stories, but again we write that how to get out of that as well.
Okay, so there's a kind of solution. So there's a sort of
there's a hope at the end of the tunnel, and that's the aim. We're just not projecting what is bad. We're also telling them to gain confidence, and the point of having an organization like Vani is to get everyone together and give them an opportunity to find a way out of your horrible whatever situation you are in. Just find a way out of it and gain confidence and do your own stuff. And doing your own stuff doesn't mean you're disregarding people.
Okay.
You know, your other family members.
Okay.
You're not disrespecting them.
Sure.
Just finding yourself.
Finding your own identity in
that's
the
it.
middle of this
Yes.
whole. Okay, and one last thought, before we wrap, I want to talk to you, as a young Asian woman growing up in this country. How relevant do you think these issues are to your generation and people like you who are growing up? At one level, lots of people may say that these issues always remain relevant to Asian women wherever they may be. But is there a kind of context to this?
I think being in a different country and surrounded by lots of different ethnicities, it shows like Asian women that they're not alone in this. Everyone has the same sorts of issues, and yes, it is relevant, but I think it's because of all these books and things that we have to help us find solutions to all of these things. I think it's getting more accepted and more widely talked about, and it's not subjective to Asian women anymore.
Now, one of the issues that really matters to the community and is politically a real hot potato is immigration. And it's often really interesting to ask people within the immigrant communities about this subject. Tell me, the one question that we're asking is that, is there too much immigration in the UK? Let me start with you, sir. Tell me, you're a first-generation immigrant. Do you think there's too much immigration in this country?
I think immigration is a great thing. It's what brought me here, but there's not enough control over it. It's too easy for people to come in, and there's maybe not enough encouragement for them to go out when they have nothing left to offer.
And when you say it's too easy to get in, what do you mean by that?
So from a European perspective, it's easy to cross borders if you're from the EU, which is a great thing, but at the same time, you need to have the right reasons for coming in. If it's just simply to pick up benefits and to live a better life, then if you are on benefits in your home country, then that's not the right reason to do it.
Okay.
If you're offering skills to a gap in the market, that's a great reason to do it.
Obviously there are lots of Asian immigrants in the UK, both first generation, second generation immigrants. Do you think mostly the Indians who are here offer something to the economy?
Absolutely. I think the Indians have skills that you can't really find in the UK, from a tech perspective, just the English language skills that they can offer. So yeah, definitely they do have something to offer.
Okay. In terms of kind of the political rhetoric that's usually seen on immigration, the government wants to get it down lesser than 100,000 people coming in every year. Do you think politicians get it right?
I'm not as tied into the political community, but from what I've seen, they're obviously making efforts to improve it. They've put a cap on, I think, the number of students that can stay in, or they've put some sort of rules in place. At the same time, they are changing the rules around benefits as well. I personally don't think enough is happening, but it's obviously going to take time for everything to change.
This is really interesting. Lots of people point out that, while everyone talks about immigration from outside the EU, immigration within the EU is obviously a big issue. Lots of people, like you pointed out, come here only because they get benefits and things like that. Tell me, do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I'm myself, I'm from Lithuania, but when I came here to work, and I came here to offer my skills. And I know people who are here just because of benefits, so that's not acceptable. So as Chirag said, I don't agree with them coming here and basically just doing nothing and just claiming the benefits. That shouldn't be the case. So if you are coming here and you want to succeed, and you should be proving yourself, and you should be going together with all the other people who are here and trying to make it. But if you come here to just do nothing and then just get the benefits, that's wrong.
But how can the government control that? Because lots of people say that it's both ways. If a lot of Britons want to go and live in Europe, they can do that. So it sort of works both ways.
Well, I think it's definitely very difficult to control. But if you give people the rules that they have to follow if they want to stay in the country, that would help, I think.
If you don't mind me asking, what do you do?
I'm a project manager.
And do you see other people from EU countries who are here just doing nothing? Do you have Do you have examples? Have you seen this happen?
I have examples of both. I have friends who are here and they're doing great and they have great jobs. And I know people, friends of friends or acquaintances who are here and who are not working as hard as they should, let's just put it that way, or some people who are actually on benefits.
Okay. And so I understand you're here just for a few days. You're from Thailand. Tell me, I mean, when you visit Britain, when you see the kind of cultural diversity, number of immigrants here, you just kind of walk into a train, a tube, and you just see the diversity for yourself. London is really a global city. Is that, do you think, a good thing, bad thing?
I think that's a good thing. I think it's a very good thing. It should be more diversified, I think. But then I think it's also we should be controlled, the immigrants. Like they all said that it should be more controlled. Yeah. Like as a tourist, I like going around, seeing more diversified, different color. I think London is very good like that.
Okay, let me ask you all. You all of you told me that there should be more control on immigration. Why do you think that?
It's simply too easy. In some ways, it's encouraging people to cross borders to take advantage of what the government offers.
But shouldn't it be easy? Shouldn't borders be, in the 21st century, borders should be irrelevant, and people say that people should be able to cross borders?
From a free trade perspective, yes. But the whole point of free trade is you're offering a service, a skill, a product, whatever it is. If you're coming in and taking more from the economy than you're giving it, then there's no real benefit there. It's a bit selfish.
What would you say to a lot of people who say that immigrants are, come into this country, the line, right? Taking our jobs and, putting pressure on health services, putting a pressure on schools.
Well, I'd say the government's making a big effort to bring the immigrants in for a reason, and that's to fill a gap in the market. If there was no gap and the skills were available locally, and the motivation was there locally to go pursue those jobs and get the education and so on, then they wouldn't be looking outside.
Immigrants get a raw deal?
I do think immigrants get a raw deal, but at the same time, this is not politically correct, but there's a lot of local people that just don't make the effort. They think getting a job, they take that for granted, where the immigrants here, they put in the effort, they study harder, they work harder to get a job. In their jobs, they appreciate it a lot more, which is why we can kind of progress a lot more than the locals here, because it's too easy to switch from job to job when you're over here. So I think if everyone just kind of worked as hard and they deserved the jobs that we had, they would get the jobs that we had. But yeah, the perception's definitely there. When the unemployment rate is so high here, of course, they're not going to value the immigrants being here and taking their jobs, essentially.
Tell me, when I say the words immigration in the UK, what's that one word that comes to your mind?
Amazing. That's why I'm here.
I think it's embraced.
Benefits.
I think it's good for England.
Hello and welcome to NDTV here. We are in Harrow, which is a suburb with quite a few people from South Asia, from India. And here we are asking people the question that should Eid and Diwali, the two festivals, one celebrated by the Hindu minority population here in this country, and Eid celebrated by a lot of people from the Muslim community in this country, should they be made public holidays? We're just out and about asking people for their views. I have with me somebody who actually signed the petition. So you tell me, why did you sign this petition?
Well, I think Indians are the biggest ethnic minority in this country. So, and 50% of our bank holidays, four out of eight bank holidays are based on religion. So the argument that we don't have religious holidays is not a valid argument. So I signed this petition. I mean, I don't want to increase number of bank holidays.
Now the government has come out and said that it's not going to go ahead with granting these 2 days. Are you disappointed?
I'm a bit disappointed because the argument they have given is not completely satisfactory. They have given the argument that our holidays are set and they are not based on religion. They are based on convenience. But I think it's a 50% true answer because 4 out of 8 holidays are based on religion.
Okay. So you were telling me earlier that you're not particularly bothered by this. Yes. So what's your view?
Well, my understanding is, I living in this country, I understand that most of the holidays are also based on the weather. So if you see, you've got 3 holidays in summer. So which I feel I can enjoy more when it's nice weather to go out and enjoy with kids and family. So that's what my understanding is.
And what do you do on Diwali Day? Do you celebrate Diwali?
Yeah, we do celebrate Diwali. I come back home a bit early, or I can take in off from the work.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Now, ma'am, you were telling me that for both of you, I mean, you said that you're quite happy if you'll get another 2 days off. Is that your view?
Well, yeah, we get Christmas and stuff off, so I don't see why you can't have your holidays off and stuff. you're expected to be off on our Christmas and stuff. So I think your day is Diwali and Eid. You should get a day off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would you do on a day when Diwali is being celebrated by the Hindu community?
I don't know. It's going to be my day off, so I don't know. Whatever you do when we have Christmas or Easter or anything like that.
Okay. And you're in favor of these 2 days being declared as holiday?
Yeah.
But the government has recently come out and said that it's decided not to go ahead with both these days. How would you react to that? And sort of the main reason is that this is not based on religion, but it's just the number of holidays people taking off.
In regards to me, it's another day off for us, so I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And would you say that now, given how Britain has changed over many years, with many immigrant communities all wanting to celebrate their sort of days, their special days, this should now be it's time that these days are made holidays in this country?
Yes, I think so. My little boy learns about it at school, so it might make them more aware. If he learns about all these different cultures at school and he has a holiday, it'd make him more aware of what it actually is.
So you're saying if he gets a holiday in school, he'll know a bit more.
In regards to working in a nursery, I've got many children from India and all over the world, and I mean they have to decorate and do cards and stuff for Christmas and Easter, and they necessarily don't do it at home, so we should be doing theirs.
Okay. What would you say to that? I mean,
all great things, but the thing is, how many holidays can we have? You start saying with Diwali, you can say Eid, you will say Hanukkah. Every community will come and start saying that we want a holiday. This country cannot afford to have more than 10, 15, 20 holidays.
Okay. What would you say to that? I mean, this country just can't afford it.
First of all, we have only 8 holidays, and I'm not saying that we should increase holidays. We have 50% holidays which are religion-based. Rest 50% are just convenience for the sake of convenience. That could have been swapped, or we could have some optional holidays, like we in India have 2 optional holidays. So anybody wants to have it, they can have it. Or yeah, I mean, some arrangement can be made.
Sure. One last closing thought: optional holidays, would that work in a nursery for you?
What do you mean?
So I mean, you can take off if you want to, or if you
yeah.
sort of choose a holiday kind of thing.
Yeah.
Would that work?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, make 1 option or 2 option holiday. Whosoever wants, he can. There is a list of holidays. You can choose from those holidays. I mean, you have a list of Hanukkah or Chinese New Year. So you can choose 1 holiday in a year, which is an optional holiday, which will not be counted against your own holidays.
That's a great idea. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I won't get a holiday anyway because I work for the NHS, so we don't get bank holidays. So I'm just doing this for all of you, but yeah.